Welcome to Good Games Spawn Point, the show for younger gamers by gamers. I'm Hex.
And I'm Bajo.
And I am Darren. Hello.
Hello. Playing good games this week, Darren?
Affirmative. I clocked 100% in The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword.
What?
Whoa, Darren, that game doesn't come out till next year.
Affirmative. I hacked the Nintendo servers in Japan and played it remotely.
What?
Didn't you feel bad about that? Hacking's not, it's not the right thing to do.
Oh, you know what they say? Clear cache, clear conscience.
Right. Was it any good?
I'm not sharing any spoilers, Bajo.
Well, coming up in the show, we've got a game a little closer to home, the latest YuGiOh on DS.
He's so difficult to work with. And Spawn Point's Dissect is back. We look at how computers use memory.
But first, let's check out
Puzzle Bots for PC.
Mr. Interruption. That's what your name is for the rest of the day. Well, Darren, here's a game that should be right up your electro alley. It's called Puzzle Bots, and it's all about robots that prove their superior intellect with lasers.
How are you going to keep him from getting out of there?
Don't worry, this little keychain deactivates the lasers, and I'm leaving it right here where I can find it again.
Gimme. I mean, I may be able to spare a few clock cycles to assess its worth. Place it in the analysis matrix.
We can't, Darren, it's a downloadable game.
Oh, very well. Connecting. Downloading. Installing. Playing. Assessing. Done.
And?
Deep in the laboratory of the sinister Dr. YuGiOh live the puzzle bots. Tiny synthetic beings created for a single degrading purpose. Chores. As the player, your mission is to mastermind their escape attempt. Each of the puzzle bots has their own unique skills, and you can only succeed by making them work together. For instance, the mighty tank treads of Ultrabot give him the power to shove heavy objects many times his size, while the pincer hands of the Hero Bot can lift and manipulate fiddly items. While the way ahead isn't always immediately obvious, the tools you need to advance are always right in front of you. If you ever get stuck, you can just click on the hint button to get things spelled out to you in exhaustive detail. Puzzle Bots is straightforward enough, but has serious problems. The graphics and animation are colourful yet clunky. Clunkier still is the dialogue.
Well, I'm gonna go make sure I clocked in. I'll catch you later.
Between the mildly taxing puzzle segments and lengthy cutscenes in which the human inventors of the puzzle bots argue with each other, these segues, together with the frequent use of disco music, is supposed to be funny, but they fail to trigger my highly sensitive joke senses.
So make sure you keep an eye out for Dr. YuGiOh's robot helpers. Coming soon to a store near you.
Wait, did you say soon?
Shh, just smile.
Worse was its simplicity. Each puzzle bot's puzzle only has one solution. Play the game through once and you'll have no reason to ever play it again. This is a game for noobs, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everyone needs to start somewhere. The problem is that it sends the wrong message to the nooblets of Earth. The humans in this game tower over the puzzle bots. Not only are your metal men small, they are ignorant. These robots are noobs themselves, which, frankly, I found to be offensive. For more challenging puzzles, more interesting characters, and a better story, I would recommend any of the Professor Layton games on Nintendo DS. Puzzle Bots just doesn't deliver enough value or quality to make a purchase worthwhile. And a game that encourages rampant robophobia is a rip-off at any price.
By now, you've probably heard about our robots.
Weren't they on that special about the 10 biggest peacetime explosions?
I give it Pi Rubber Chickens.
What? Pi?
An irrational number that measures the diameter of a circle divided by its circumference, equal to 3.14159.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Darren. That was really well done. Great job.
Affirmative. Job done.
I want pie.
I could cook you one. In my oven.
He has one. He has got an oven up the back.
The last one was full of bolts and oil.
Yeah, and then I said to Darren, I said, your face is a noob, and he came back with nothing. It was brilliant.
Yeah, that's a really boring story. Look what I can do with this piece of paper. And it's a hat.
You did not just make that.
I made it. Oh, we're on!
Oh, so who's firsty first today, Bajo?
Well, Hex Firsterton today goes to Lockie from Croydon, which is in Victoria.
Is it true that in the new Xbox coming out, you can play a skateboard game by putting a sensor on your real skateboard and it looks exactly like your skateboard? Well, Lockie, I think you're confusing the upcoming motion control camera for the Xbox 360, the Kinect, with a new Xbox.
Yeah, there isn't a new Xbox coming out anytime soon. There is a redesigned, slimmer Xbox 360, but it's not a new console. And unfortunately, the skateboarding game you're talking about doesn't exist! Although, something very similar was shown off when Kinect was announced, but that was just a demo.
The latest Tony Hawk game, Ride, came with a lookalike skateboard, but we didn't think the game was that great.
Yeah, it was rubbish.
Okay, next question is from me in Mullaney, Queensland.
I didn't know you lived in Queensland.
No, I don't live in Queensland. I live down the road from you. The person just put their name as me. I'm not from Queensland.
Hi GGSP, I'm a big fan of the Jak and Daxter games, and I was wondering if a new Jak game is coming out. Well, me, yes and no. Currently, there are no new games on the horizon for the main Jak and Daxter series.
But there is the upcoming PlayStation Move title, Heroes on the Move, which will feature Jak and Daxter, as well as Sly Cooper and Ratchet and Clank in some motion-controlled platforming shenanigans.
Yeah, so it's not really a Jak and Daxter game, but it kind of is, which is better than nothing. All right, next is this from Murray in Apollo Bay. Where's that?
I think it's in Victoria.
You're absolutely right, it's in Victoria.
Since none of my friends play good games, I never got the chance to discuss Braid with any passionate gamer. So I'd like to ask Hex and Bajo this. How did you guys interpret the underlying theme of Braid? Personally, I find the analogous anthropomorphism of the princess as the atom bomb to be a strong statement of the downfall of mankind's humanity. What do you guys think? I'm dying for some good game discussion here. Well, Murray, the atom bomb interpretation of the princess is an interesting one, but I personally interpret the story to be more about our desires to fix our mistakes and coming to understand our world from a different perspective than our own, as opposed to any direct comment on the downfall of mankind.
I liked his little red bow tie. Okay, next is this from Unknown in Perth, Western Australia. I have sent so many emails and I'm hoping you can answer these two things. Can you play Wii games from any region, and when will Final Fantasy The Four Heroes of Light come to Australia? If you do answer, thanks.
Well, Unknown, sorry, but no, you can't play Wii games from any region as the Wii is region locked.
As for Final Fantasy IV Heroes of Light, well, there's no confirmed release date for Australia yet, but it is set to come out in Europe on October 8th. Australia releases usually aren't far behind Europe, so I'd say it's probably going to be out sometime in October.
Okay, speaking of release dates, let's go to this from Julian in Perth, Western Australia.
Have you seen my hat?
No. Hey guys, I'm totally sorry to say this, but you guys are noobs. Because Test Drive Unlimited 2 is not being released this year, it's gonna be next year. Soz to point that out, but it's true. P.S. Love your show, keep up the awesome work.
Well, Julian, you are completely right and we were completely wrong, but we have a good excuse on this one.
Yeah, well, it's not really a good excuse, it's just an excuse, but we actually recorded that episode before the release date was pushed back, so at the time we said it, we were right, but by the time it went to air, we were wrong.
So yeah, sorry about that, everyone. You won't be playing Test Drive Unlimited 2 in September, but you will be playing it early next year, probably. Okay, next is from No Need to Know in Not Telling, ACT. Location is not telling.
No one's so mysterious. Why is that?
Enigmas! Why won't you answer my questions? Please answer this one. What is the best and cheapest PS3 game? PS, used to are awesome.
Well, we can't really answer either part of that question. You can find games at vastly different prices in different shops, and you could buy them brand new or pre-owned, so there's no way for us to say what game is the cheapest.
As for the best, well, we can't really say that either. Everyone has a different idea about which game is best. It's really just a matter of personal taste.
But I'd suggest having a look through the Platinum range of games, as those are games that have sold very well and they're at a discount price, so I'd start there. The latest Ratchet and Clank games might be a good bet.
And on that note, we're out of time, spawners.
Oh, we'll be back next week to answer more of your questions, so get on here and ask us some stuff.
Why are they so mean?
I don't know, I just don't know.
We treat them nice. We give them food. We pet them.
We don't.
As we all know, YuGiOh is the very popular trading card game that has had many video games to complement it. The latest installment is YuGiOh 5DS 2010 Reverse of Arcadia, and it's a very silly name for a video game.
The game has two modes, the 5DS Story and World Championship. The 5DS Story is a linear experience which follows the anime of the same name. World Championship is just an electronic version of the card game, which offers both local and Wi-Fi connected battles. To unlock cards in the shop in Championship mode, you need money. And to get money, you have to play the story, so you can't just jump in and play with all your favourite cards, you have to unlock them first in the story mode.
Yeah, normally that wouldn't be a big deal, but in this game, the story is just so atrocious. And if you haven't seen the anime, you're not going to have any idea what's going on. The game expects you to know. I just wish there was an option for people who hadn't seen it. I found myself in these cutscenes just staring at the screen, wondering what on earth was happening.
And the script was so bad.
Yeah.
Plus, what's with the difficulty curve? It goes from easy to super mega hard in like 2 battles, and it can really knock down the player.
Once you get into it though, the gameplay in YuGiOh is actually pretty good. There's a whole bunch of tutorials too, so if you're new to it, it can help you get up to speed pretty quickly.
I love how there's little quizzes after the tutorial too, to test you in case you weren't paying attention.
There's 3 different types of cards in YuGiOh. Monster cards, which attack and fight for you. Spell cards, which you cast and have effect on the battlefield. And trap cards, which you activate when your opponent makes a move.
There's a real skill in combining and timing your cards, and it feels great when you play your cards just perfectly and you pummel your opponent.
Yes, it doesn't feel so good for the opponent though. Me. You can customize your own deck though and build a winning combination that way.
I think if you're a fan of the series, you probably will enjoy this game, but coming in as a new player, it just didn't catch me. I'm gonna give it a 6.
Yeah, it's that classic thing of the gameplay is good, but that story just let it down so much, and I couldn't get past that. So I'm giving it 5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Hex? Hex, can you remember what you had for breakfast this morning?
Yeah, of course. It was French toast dripping with syrup.
And yesterday?
I think it was muesli.
And on the 14th of March, 1996?
What? No, it's not like I have unlimited memory.
Of course not. And neither do computers. That's why memory is so important.
A clumsy segue, Darren, but good enough. Random access memory, or RAM, is vital to today's video game systems. Put simply, the more RAM you have, the more detail you can cram into a video game. More RAM means more detailed characters, bigger game worlds, and flashier effects.
Are you ready to start fighting for real? Jackpot! Oopsie
The more RAM, the better.
Indeed, the history of gaming has been a reflection of advances in RAM technology. Take the first mass-market game console, the Atari 2600. Released way back in 1977, it only had 128 bytes of RAM. Not 128 megabytes or kilobytes, 128 bytes. That wasn't enough even to store the information of everything on screen, so the console had to recalculate and redraw everything 25 times a second.
It's quite a big piece of equipment for just a handful of bytes, don't you think, Darren?
Affirmative. But look at that wood paneling.
For a long time, things didn't get much better. Mario wouldn't be Mario without his distinctive overalls and white gloves. But his creator, Shigeru Miyamoto, only gave him that outfit so that you could see his limbs moving. It's the same reason he gave Mario a mustache. There wasn't enough RAM to put a proper face on him, so they invented a simple mustache to show you where his face actually was. Otherwise, it would have just been a blob.
Blobby, blobby, blobby.
Of course, they've yet to overcome the biggest problem with RAM. It only holds information while the power's on.
Australian Broadcasting BIOS. Booting Darren OS version 3.2. Ah, hello, Hex. Can you remember what you had for breakfast
We've
this
done
morning?
that bit already, Darren.
Oh. Well, anyway, the reason we still have loading screens is because of the unbridled ambition of video game developers. You get a loading screen when the game is loading all its information into memory. Developers always want to push the hardware to the limit, to make the prettiest games that will sell the most copies. As such, the makers of hardware and software are locked in a never-ending struggle. The bigger games get, the chunkier RAM chips and hard drives need to be. It's a real arms race, and the winners are gamers, because we get to enjoy bigger and better games every year.
Sardines!
What?
I remember it was sardines. I had them for breakfast on March 14, 1996. It was St. Swithin's Day.
Had to hunt for that in the old mushy pink hard drive, eh?
Affirmative.
Thank you for proving my point. No matter how advanced our computers become, there's always such a thing as useless information. As with all art forms, making great games is as much about what you leave out as what you leave in.
Have you played this game, Darren?
Get it out of my sight.
What's the time, Darren?
It depends, Bajo. Do you mean Pacific Standard, Coordinated Universal, or Greenwich Mean Time?
I think he means it's time to finish the show.
Yes, thanks, Hex. Next week we'll be exploring some ancient tombs with Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light.
And make sure your vote counts in the latest Spawn Selects poll. Which puzzle game should get the good game treatment? Visit our website here to make your selection.
I have an idea for a new segment we could start next week.
Oh, really, Darren? What's that?
Darren's big list of best transistors.
It's not really gaming related though, is it, Darren?
Darren's top 5 circuit boards.
No, I don't think so, Darren.
Darren's guide to flux capacitors.
Hex out.
Bajo out.
Darren's noob guide to fiber optics.
Put that one on the back burner, Darren.
But your apple pie's on my back burner.
I don't want it. It's full of oil. You always put oil in my pies.
Negative.
Wreck my pies.
Negative.
Darren, how long's it been in there? Is there smoke coming out the back of you?
Negative. Negative. Negative.
Is my pie on fire?
I know. Darren's cooking. Cooking with Darren. What do you think?
Sure, why not?
Oh, it's not bad!
Excellent. I'll get cracking.
Oh, save the pie!
No, it's almost done. You'll ruin it.
What's going on?